independent peer and former Labour MP, Baroness Kate Hoey. Now, she took to Twitter to criticise these comments, labelling them, in frank terms, as pathetic. And Kate joins me on the phone this afternoon. Kate, thank you very much for your time. On Twitter, you did say these comments were pathetic. Why do you reckon that? And do you think this smacks of the BBC being completely out of touch? They're pandering to whackery and wokery.
Well, good afternoon. I was very, very surprised at a BBC sports journalist, a woman sports journalist, actually saying what she said. I mean, it really was not something that I thought any BBC sports journalist would have said, but particularly after the Lionesses had just had such a great victory. And it really did seem to me that she had overstretched the mark, even if she personally thought that. And it was a ridiculous thing to think about because, as you rightly say, most people feel that the best people should be picked for teams. And England had done extremely well. And over the last 10 or 20 years, the women's football has grown enormously right throughout the country. And indeed, I was, delighted to see Northern Ireland in the last competing for the first time ever, even though they lost 5-0 to England. It was still a great event. So I just think the BBC really should be looking at what on earth they were playing at.
Yeah, because Kate, it just strikes me and you're a former sports minister, right? You recognise the way in which this has changed. The focus, instead of focusing on the game, and as you say, we're not celebrating things like Northern Ireland going professional, Kate. We're instead talking about the colour of players on the pitch. Surely this move away from saying, let's focus on people's talents and abilities and content of their characters, and instead focusing exclusively on the colour of people's skins, is this not going backwards, not forwards?
Well, I think it is. I mean, sport unites people. It brings people together. Certainly when I was sports minister, you never even thought of the fact that there were some of our teams which were predominantly black. Some of our best athletes are from a black community, and sometimes we had all black women's teams and all black men's teams. I mean, it really was a ridiculous thing to say. And I think particularly so because Sue Campbell, who is the Football Association's women, one of the people within the Football Association who've really done so much to make sure that more young women are getting involved in football from all backgrounds. And it just seems so ridiculous that having seen the changes and the good things that are happening. I mean, I remember when I was sports minister going to watch an England football match, and I think there was myself and about another 100 spectators. That's what's changed in quite a relatively short time. So yes, and I think the BBC is just being pathetic, as I said. I couldn't think of a better word really than pathetic. And it does need people to speak out about this. And I think the people who would be most upset probably would be the women in the England team, the Lionesses, who, how does that make them feel?
Well, indeed, exactly. And the miserablest, that's what they are, Kate. But former Labour MP Kate Hoey there, thank you very much for your time today.